The Carolina Panthers right now are a damn clown show. This roster is terrible. General Manager Scott Fitterer did a terrible job at building around number one pick Bryce Young. And the Panthers right now, they're 0-2. And their season has gotten out to a absolute disaster. I mean, Miles Sanders looks like a massive overpay. He stinks. They have no true number one wide receiver. Anytime you have a 30-plus-year-old wide receiver as your number one option, you're in trouble, especially if that guy is Adam Thielen. Now, I think Adam Thielen is a serviceable number 2 or number 3 option, but if you're asking him to be your primary option in your offense, you got a lot of problems at wide receiver. I mean, who in this Carolina Panthers wide receiver room do defenses look at and say, oh yeah, like they scare us, we got to pay extra attention to him? You really are going to give Bryce Young, your franchise quarterback, Adam Thielen, DJ Chark, to throw the football to? How big of a disservice have the Carolina Panthers given Bryce Young? I mean, they're giving this man no weapons. He doesn't have a good offensive line. What the hell do you want the brother to do? For people who are calling Bryce Young a bust, I mean, what do you want him to do when he has receivers that can't get open, they can't create separation, they struggle getting off the line, an offensive line that can't give him more than 2.3 seconds to throw the football? You're asking Bryce Young to turn glitter to gold down there in Carolina. Frank Wright and this coaching staff, they haven't looked like the experienced head coach or the experienced coaching staff that I thought they would going into this season. I thought that this coaching staff was going to be a major advantage for Carolina with them playing in a really weak division with the 3 other teams that they go up against having question marks with their coaching staffs as well. Well, Frank Wright, he's starting to show us why Indianapolis moved on from him. The play calling doesn't look good. The scheme just doesn't look like it's good. And Bryce Young isn't being put in situations to succeed. If you want to learn how to ruin your young quarterback, the Carolina Panthers are giving you a good 101 lesson on how to do that. Bryce Young doesn't have a single receiver who he can look at and trust in third down situations when the game is on the line. He can't trust his offensive line to give him time in the pocket to allow these receivers to get open. It's a shit show down there in Carolina. And I had a homie of mine who reached out to me. He was really frustrated. I guess he just wanted to vent. He's just tired of being a Panthers fan. That's the best way I can summarize everything that he was basically venting to me about. He was saying he wants Scott Fitterer fired. A lot of fans feel like Bryce Young was a bad draft pick. Even though he's only 2 games in, Carolina fans have kind of already started to sour over Bryce Young. And here's the thing. You can't expect Bryce Young to play at a high level when he has terrible players around him. This is not a good football team. And there's a reason why Carolina has been bad for the last couple of years, ever since the prime and golden years of Riverboat Ron and Cam Newton. This franchise has been through several quarterbacks. They have been through numerous head coaches after they got rid of Ron Rivera. You had Matt Rule. Then you bring in Frank Wright, who you thought was going to be an upgrade over Matt Rule. I don't see a damn difference in this team. Do you? This is the same team that we kind of saw last year under Matt Rule that we are seeing right now under Frank Wright. This team doesn't look well coached. They don't look like they got a great roster at all around Bryce Young. It just looks like a complete disaster down there in Carolina for the Panthers. I mean, this team had a really good offensive line last year, and they were playing some really good football. They damn near won this division with Steve Wilkes as their head coach. An interim head coach nearly won the division for Carolina, and then a year later, they're off to an 0-2 start, about to go 0-3 when they play Seattle on the road this week. If you're a Carolina fan, I know you have to be not only disappointed, but your spirit has to be crushed, because you're wondering just when is this franchise going to figure it out? This franchise just doesn't have a good understanding about what it takes to build a championship caliber football team. And not just a championship caliber football team, but they don't even know what it takes to build around your young quarterback. The Carolina Panthers, man, you talk about an ugly start to the season. I don't think any team has gotten out to a worse start than what Carolina has, other than the Arizona Cardinals. This team is a mess. Scott Fitterer, Frank Wright, we need to be looking at those guys and start asking them some tough questions. And maybe in a couple of weeks, if Carolina continues to struggle, we may have to have a tough conversation about the future job security of Frank Wright and Scott Fitterer, because this team doesn't look like it's heading in the right direction. As a matter of fact, this team looks like it's headed farther left than what they were last year. Under Steve Wilks, they might as well have just hired Steve Wilks if they were going to start this season off 0-2. And for those of you guys who are going to say, oh, JT is early into the season, give us time. No. How much more time do you need? You lost to the Saints and the Falcons. Both of those games were winnable. The Saints and the Falcons are not more superiorly talented than the Carolina Panthers. When you have a experienced head coach with a winning record, a head coach who has led a team to the postseason before, he should be able to lead you to wins over a guy like Dennis Allen, who I think is a really overrated head coach, isn't that good, and then Arthur Smith. The Panthers look discombobulated. They don't have identity. The only good thing about this team is that your defense is going to be able to keep you in most of your games that you play in. But this offense is garbage. I'm just really disappointed every time I watch the Carolina Panthers play this year. And they only have played 2 years, and I think they're only going to get worse. Now, Bryce Young probably will get better as the season progresses and he starts to settle into the NFL and the game starts to slow down for him a little bit. But even when he starts playing better, I still don't know if the Carolina Panthers are going to be all that better of a team. The Carolina Panthers very well could be a team that wins less than 7 games this year. With how tough their schedule kind of looks and how bad they've played the first couple of weeks this season, I don't think this team is going to win this division anymore. And I think that they're probably going to be in for a very tough and long season with Frank Wright and rookie quarterback Bryce Young. This team is just an absolute disaster.